On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about U.S.A. for M.O.D. by M.O.D. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal, and we like to talk about it. And today, we're going back to 1987 to talk about a mistake.
Well, you know, it wasn't a mistake at the time, and there are people who would say now that it's not a mistake. But I mean, it didn't really work. When looking back on it, the concept really didn't quite work at the time as well. It worked better than it does now, but it really doesn't hold up now.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can say this doesn't hold up, but it's also like, was it good at the time? Did people actually did people get this at the time?
Some people did, and I think a lot of people got it as not being satire.
That's the thing.
I think that's what they say. Hey, he really means this shit.
That's always been my problem with this kind of really crass satire, where you're kind of you're speaking in the voice of the people you're making fun of. Is I think the vast majority of people who hear it don't think you are making fun of someone. They just think you're an asshole. And even going into this album, like I remember when we listened to S.O.D, and it's it's got some of this flavor. It's not quite as acidic as this is. This goes even further in that direction. And it's one of those things where, like, how old were these guys when they made this?
They were still in their 20s. I think Billy was still in his 20s. The rest of the band I'm not really familiar with. I mean, this is Billy after the rest of S.O.D went back to doing their big boy projects.
Yeah, which would be Anthrax.
Anthrax and Nuclear Assault.
Yeah,
and then. Then Billy went, I don't want to have a job. And she's like, well, I still want to make music. It'd be great. So we got these guys together and he did this. And Scott appears on this in a few places. Yeah,
he plays like acoustic guitar on one song. Let's see. Acoustic guitar, he provides some backing vocals in some places. But yeah, it's I think there are a couple of songs on here also that started off as S.O.D songs. They've got some,
make the cut.
Yeah, that I think even the title of the album, U.S.A. for M.O.D, was originally U.S.A. for S.O.D.
Right.
But yeah, we'll talk more about this album and some of the issues with trying to listen to it in 2025.
Yeah.
But for how are you doing?
Fantastic. I spent the last the day traveling. I went to Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Beautiful. Grand Forks, North Dakota. The nicest city in the state.
You know, it's not as bad as I remember.
I feel like people give Grand Forks a lot of shit it doesn't deserve.
Yeah.
Because it's it's sitting on the same latitude as Williston.
Right.
I mean, so is Minot.
So is Minot.
But like it's you want to call it the Williston of the East. But it's actually better than Williston.
Yeah, because I spent because I went the company that worked my night job celebrating 50 years as a company, and they're like, hey, we want to give awards to people who've been there way too fucking long.
Yeah,
like OJ, let's invite him out. So my youngest child and I drove out. He was my date, and they fed us free buffet dinner.
Nice.
They had a guy come out, and did Family Feud for the company. A guy you would recognize, because this is the same damn guy who did it for our company from Minot. And so we did that, and we
went all the way out to Grand Forks.
Yeah, he went all the way out to Grand Forks.
I didn't know he traveled that far for that.
They paid him,
I
handsomely.
suppose.
And Tracy, this company's based out of Grand Forks.
Okay,
but they've done a lot of business in Minot. And a lot of people here. In fact, the first gaming site was here. It was Gordon's Holiday Spot.
Okay,
what is now Oishi Ramen.
Okay.
That was our first
Gordon's Holiday
Spot, like 50 years ago is when.
Okay.
50 some odd. Anyway, yeah. So we went there and we did that and had fun, and they gave us some free drinks and free food, and then we went back to our free hotel room at the Canada Inn.
Oh yes, the Canada. I'm I'm pretty sure I've stayed at the Canada Inn at some point.
It's right next to the Alaris Center there.
I think it may have been for a those sound effects are not going to help you help me not. Or you remember.
They're helpful to no one.
One act play competition.
Sure. Gotcha.
There was one year that the state competition was in Grand Forks. You are currently very attractive to my cat.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain that?
I'm a pussy magnet right now. So the deal is that a friend's daughter, who's actually a friend also anyway, went to Florida on vacation and said, "Hey, can you watch my cat?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'd love to have a cat. Cats are easy to watch." I didn't know that it was a male cat that has a spraying issue. So now everything I go into my apartment, it smells like maybe we're growing about an acre of weed in there, or it just smells like just cat pheromones. So
an assault of male cat pheromones.
Right, so that's when my clothes all smell. There's no way around it. I mean, even having washed them and put them away, there's still it's in the air.
The stink is just there.
Yeah, so I'm waiting. The cat goes away on Friday, and so after that happens, I'm going to go through my home with a fine-tooth comb and probably a lot of vinegar and bleach.
I don't know if the comb is going to help get rid of the smell.
That's a metaphor.
You might want a toothbrush.
Yeah.
A wet toothbrush.
Preferably my own.
Yeah, not when you're using.
Right, yeah, okay.
But yeah, ever since you've gotten here, my cat will periodically walk in and sniff you much more closely than she ever would.
Yeah, ever has before. I keep waiting for her to go, ooh la la. You know what I mean?
Why would she sound like that?
She'd be standing.
Why does my cat sound like Buffalo Bill?
Would you fuck me?
Oh no! Today's National Hug a Cat Day, by the way.
Okay, well there you go. I guess it's my great opportunity.
If
you got a cat out there,
they're gonna love OJ. Well, if they're female, they're gonna love OJ.
Right.
If they're male, they might attack him.
Yeah, there might be a. The cat might walk in the room snapping like this, and then the.
What you doing here, guy?
Well, you're in the wrong territory, fella.
This is my territory, see?
I think not. Switchblades come out.
Yep, that's exactly what would happen. How did the awards ceremony go?
It went great. Okay, here's the thing. I've left the company several times.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I will have been there 29 years.
Yeah.
But they gave everybody who had been there, 10, 20, 30 years, in a row.
Yeah.
You get a special nameplate and a table, and you get to hang out here, and you're special. They didn't give that to me because I've left the company too many times.
Yeah.
And so me and Max are in a corner drinking water. And they did give me a coin, though, but it had the wrong start date on it. And so the head of the company came up and he says, "I'm so sorry." "I'm sorry you're a redheaded stepchild.
You should have stayed.
If
you wanted the better awards and a good seat, you should have stayed."
Yeah, well, I was kind of looking for a better opportunity but I'm back, so give me my fucking coin.
Give me my coin, my free food.
And I thank you for your gratitude.
Yeah. An opportunity to go to Grand Forks.
Yeah.
The
Williston of the East.
Williston of the East.
Yeah. Downtown, we actually went to a restaurant that my child is now saying this is one of my favorite restaurants in the whole world.
What restaurant?
It's called Kaiser.
Kaiser.
It's not German like you think it would be.
It feels like it. Well, I mean, I guess Kaiser just means Caesar, which is in this case, the whole Roman area could use that word.
But in this case, I don't think it does. It's something in like an Asian area.
Interesting.
But they serve ramen and sushi. So we got the sushi. You got like a kind of a ramen bowl, and it was like a dry ramen poke thing. Mm-hmm. And it was great. It was fantastic. It was one of those restaurants where you go into and the overhead music is cover songs of the pop music of today. Clearly, that's not Rihanna. That's somebody else.
Why?
There are 8 seats in this entire room. It smells like somebody's grandma's kitchen. You know, and you just know the food is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I was in Grand Forks.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been it wouldn't have been state one act because I think that was when I was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
I think it may have been a state speech competition when I was a junior in high school. It's been a long time since I've been to Grand Forks.
Well, the hotel they had the event in actually had maitre d's and someone there to open the door.
Was there a bellboy?
Kinda, yeah.
Oh,
there
wow.
was. It was nice. It was downtown,
Yeah.
and it wasn't the hotel they put us up in. Obviously, that was the Canada Inn.
Yeah.
But this is the one where they had the room where we
the
played Family Feud.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ballroom.
Yes, it was nice. It had nice marble gold inlay stairs.
Wow.
Then there was a fountain. There was a big, quarter-sized model twin prop airplane in the lobby. It was really nice, very good. Yeah.
There was some sort of hedonistic bacchanal going on in the next ballroom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody was naked and slathered in champagne and cum.
There was a furry convention in the next room down.
Which after our party was over, man, that's when it kicked in.
Hotel convention centers really are such a melting pot of weirdos.
Right.
I think
it is
because I feel there are so many hotels where they'll book anybody.
Right. If you're gonna pay this much for it, fucking hey, come on in.
We don't care. Whatever weird shit you want to do.
You're willing to pay this much?
That's fine.
Okay.
You want food?
Sure.
Why not? We know some people. But yeah.
Kick it.
Trying to think if I've done anything at all since last week. And the answer's I think not really.
No.
I don't recall doing anything all weekend, but that's also because going outside on Saturday would have been dangerous to my health.
Oh yeah. Manitoba's on fire.
Yeah, as is tradition for summertime in North America. About half of an entire Canadian province is burning to the ground.
Right.
And the smoke, because of the jet stream, is drifting down to the northern half of the United States.
Right. Directly into our nostrils.
It's been pretty clear the last couple of days, but over the weekend, especially on Saturday, holy shit. It was, and we had a remote on Saturday. One of our coworker Jess was outside for a couple hours.
Right, hawking oil changes.
Yeah, and I felt so bad for her having to be out in that.
Come on down to the Valvoline.
Yeah, it wasn't quite so bad. I mean, it was still pretty bad in the morning. I'm so sensitive to like smells and shit where I feel like just walking out to my car, like just taking trips to my car, going to work and back. I got home and I had a headache.
Sure,
like
of course.
like just from that small amount of exposure.
I don't think it's necessarily just the smell. I think it's a lot of the fact that there is a pollutant.
Well, yeah, that's where the smell comes from.
Right.
But like. Yeah, I've just always been very sensitive to that kind of thing, pollutants and whatnot, smells in general.
Right.
Perfumes always give me a headache. Colognes, whatnot. Is there a meaningful difference between cologne and perfume?
I think it's just,
or is it just gendered?
It's just male fragility. That's all it is.
Like I don't know if there's a chemical difference. Like cologne is distilled in this way or something.
No.
But
it's just a stinky spray.
Yeah. Overnight, our friend who will be listening to this at some point.
Okay.
She sent a screenshot to one of our Discords of the air quality index, and it was literally off the chart. Like it was maxed out. Like the meter was all the way in the red, where like the maximum reading was I think like 300 parts per million or something like that, and the actual measurement was like 550 or something like that.
Oh my god!
It was really really bad overnight, Saturday, Sunday, and then it by Sunday evening it actually cleared up quite a lot.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be awful all day, and then sometime Sunday evening I looked out the window and was like, that looks actually not too bad. And I opened up my deck door and stepped out and had a sniff and went, oh, I actually maybe could have been outside for a little bit today and not died.
Right.
Because that's always the thing that bugs me. When it's a really nice day otherwise and the smoke is so bad, it always pisses me off a little bit because, I don't know, I'm such an indoor kid anyway, but when there's something that's stopping me from going outside, I resent it, even if I wouldn't have gone outside.
Right.
I don't get it.
Oh, it makes total sense, actually.
But especially when it's like, oh, it's like 72 degrees out, and there's a lovely breeze. Like, oh, I'd actually be comfortable outside. I could sit out inside and read. I never do.
No.
But when there's something stopping me from doing that,
it makes you mad.
It makes me mad. What if I wanted to? Yeah, that was over the weekend.
Right.
I'm making some progress on my most annoying mini that I currently own.
Okay.
Which is a Space Marine librarian in Terminator armor.
Okay.
And they're really fucking annoying because they decided, hey, how many details do we want on the armor? How about all of them? How about all the details? The whole armor is covered in like carved runes that if you want to paint them, like the box, they all are like glowing. So like painting these tiny, engraved lines on this tiny plastic man with like fluorescent paint. I haven't started that part of the process yet.
Can you buy a mini brush?
I don't know about single, probably.
Yeah.
But I do have a really quite thin brush. That's actually a little annoying to use because the tip of the brush is curved slightly for some reason, and there's always one speck of dried paint that gets stuck on the very tip.
Sure. That
does not get knocked off. In the wash pot or whatever you want to call it, the cleaning jar. No matter what I do, I can't dislodge this one dry piece of paint whenever I clean the brush off. So yeah, I'm just going to grit my teeth and just be frustrated with that mini until I'm done with it. I got it in, I think I talked about this last week maybe. I got it in my head that I'll base coat this one with my brush instead of using my airbrush. I'll actually base coat this with a hand brush, aka a brush.
Right.
That was a bad idea. I also decided to try and do what's called a zenithal highlight on these two character models. There's the librarian, and then there's a captain that's still sitting over in my airbrush area. And a zenithal highlight is where you prime the model in a dark color, and then most people do it with primer, with contrasting tones of primer.
Right.
You prime out at the bottom with a dark color, like a black or a dark gray, and then you go over the top from the top down with a very light color, like white or very light gray.
Sure.
So that way, when you do like your base coats and whatnot, it sort of makes the top of the model where the light would be hitting it. It's supposed to show through on the edges a little bit. I don't know if that will actually happen with these, just because I did such a shitty job base coating the librarian. At least I'm going to base coat the captain with my airbrush, because also the models are way too fucking detailed for me at least to base coat them with a brush with any level of satisfactory result. I just was so I don't know why. I was just like I think it's because it was so detailed. There was lots of little bits that I didn't want to paint blue because they're going to be a different color. I don't want to have to paint over the blue.
Right.
It didn't matter. It was stupid. It was a mistake. I mean, this is how you learn, I guess, to paint. Like, I'm not one of these people that can like sit and watch a tutorial for literally every step of the process. Like, I watched a couple of tutorials a few months ago before I started painting, and went, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not interested in sitting down and taking like painting course for painting the minis. Like,
sure.
I don't see myself as someone who's going to take a lot of joy out of like having really amazingly well painted minis. For me, it's having the things. It's just, oh hey, they're painted and they look all right, and here's all these guys, you know, that represent this hobby and this franchise that I've enjoyed for a really long time, and they look good enough. I am in almost every aspect of my life, I am almost always perfectly happy with good enough.
Wow. Okay.
That's just, you know, I'm if trying to achieve excellent is going to drive me insane, I don't want to do it.
No.
I just, you know, I'm happy to settle for, you know what? I did a good job. I don't need to win any golden demons. I just need them to look. Do they look like Crimson Fists? All right, cool. Like, yeah, that's all I need. That's all I need. I don't need them to be. I don't need them to be great. Like learning how to do non-metallic metal. Fuck that shit. I don't have time for that. I have a life to live. I don't particularly like the way that non-metallic metal looks. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a method for painting, especially models, where instead of painting a piece of something that's supposed to be metal with actual metallic paint, you paint it with varying shades of the same color to simulate reflectivity, even though the paints you're using aren't actually reflective.
Right. It's
really cool, but usually only from certain perspectives. Because like there is, when you are painting the model, there is a perspective that you are trying to simulate for the way that the light reflects from it. And that's not the way that it's always going to be sitting. It's not a two-dimensional painting.
Right.
Where you're, you know, the way that you simulate light in the way it's reflected in this picture is always going to be the same. It's a three-dimensional object. And I you know, it looks really cool in pictures. I don't know how good they always look on the tabletop. And I feel like it's overdone anyway. I'm like, just use a fucking metallic paint. What are you too good for metallic paints? I don't know. I don't know why this isn't a high horse I'm on. It's a burro.
It's a burro.
Yeah.
Burro es io.
But anyway. Should we talk about M.O.D?
Okay.
That feels right.
Yeah.
So if you don't know about M.O.D, M.O.D stands for Method of Destruction. It's an American crossover thrash band from New York City, which is founded by Billy Milano, who is the vocalist for Stormtroopers of Death that we talked about a little bit ago. We've talked about one of their albums.
Yes.
Stormtroopers of Death was kind of a side project for members of a couple different sort of East Coast thrash metal bands.
Sure.
Most notably Anthrax with Scott Ian,
Charlie Benante,
and Nuclear Assault.
Dan
and then Billy Milano was their vocalist.
Right.
And like you said, when the other members of the band went back to focusing on, you know, on their bigger projects,
right.
He wanted to keep making music of that style, and so M.O.D became the thing. And the band is still around today.
Yes.
But there was a hiatus from 1997 to 2001. After which there were some reunions, some new albums that have come out. Their most recent album came out in 2017. And we talked about this at the start. It's a style of really crass, really aggressive satire that kind of only could exist in the 80s. It only worked as well as it ever worked in the 80s, I feel like. And it's the sort of thing that punk has has long since moved on from. People say irony is dead all the time.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but like this is the sort of thing people sometimes talk about when they say irony is dead. Like, oh, you can't make satire like this anymore. And it's like, Yeah, there's a reason for that. It's because it kind of sucked.
Mm-hmm. It sucked, and there are too many people that were aware. I mean, were aware of the fact that there are too many people who would hear this and take it at face value.
Yeah, like that. That's the problem. I mean, I just got done talking about fucking Warhammer 40K.
Yeah,
so that started out as like crass, aggressive satire in the 80s, and boy, are there some people who take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of shit from the 80s that's like that. Fucking Judge Dredd is like that.
Right.
Yeah, a satire of authoritarian British politics in the 80s. It's a satire of Thatcherism in particular. And people just idolize Judge Dredd as a character when he's supposed to be, he's the man. He's he's judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to like him.
Right.
But he's just cool. That's the problem, is they make it look cool.
Yeah.
This it's one of those things where it's like it makes me wonder, like, okay, if I was a similar type of person in the in the late 80s that I am today, if I was a teenager in 1987, and was a similar kind of person in a similar political views, but with the context of the 80s, would I think this is funny? I don't know. I mean, I was there. Yeah.
And I did think it was kind of funny. I realized there's something about it that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was complicated, which is one of the things I enjoyed about it at the time.
Yeah.
I like the sort of hardcore thrash aspect to the music.
The music itself is fine.
Yeah.
The songwriting, it's a classic crossover thrash album. Very punky and very thrashy.
Right. But
there's something that I wasn't prepared for, is the amount of fat shaming in this album.
Yeah.
It's the incredible amount of like fat shaming in here.
Which, have you ever seen a picture of Billy Milano?
I have. He's I mean, I don't know what he looked like in 1987, but
bigger.
He was bigger then than he is now.
Big, in fact, there was
he's a husky fella now.
He's always been a husky fella, which is fine, whatever, dude.
But, yeah. Well, it's fat shaming coupled with misogyny.
Yeah. It's weird.
I don't get it.
I had the Stormtroopers of Death live at Budokan, and in the opening they start with the sort of the instrumental part. Scott and Dan and Charlie are there, and then suddenly the spotlight opens up on Billy on top of a stack of speakers. It's like 10 speakers high, and he's smoking a cigar. It's a lit cigar, and you're going, "Oh fuck, this is not going to go well."
Please don't jump off of there, Billy.
Yeah. So first he takes the lit cigar and throws it into the audience.
Oh Jesus!
And then he throws his own self into the audience, which is like dominoes just going down. And you're like, oh my God, I hope nobody got seriously injured. I hope they gathered enough forces, to united forces to catch him. But yeah,
good Lord,
yeah, they went on with the show, so I assume
nobody died,
right?
Nobody was seriously injured.
Yeah. It's just weird just how much misogynistic fat shaming there is on this.
Yeah, it's like I wasn't, and it's like it's the sort of thing that some of it feels kind of funny in hindsight. Yeah. In particular, like bubble butt.
Yeah, I was gonna say in hindsight,
like making fun of someone for having a bubble butt is one of those things. Like even when I was a kid, like oh it still worked as an insult, but it doesn't. Like in this day and age, people are still not over big asses. Like everybody, it's long been not long been accepted, but for like the last decade
or so at least,
if you have a big ass, that's not necessarily a thing to be ridiculed.
Yeah, now they compare it to one of the greatest desserts in the world.
Yeah,
cake.
So it's like that has that worm has turned.
That worm has turned. And the funny thing is, he doesn't lob an insult in there. He's just saying she has a bubble butt.
Yeah.
The end, basically.
Well, I think he also said,
well, she's so fat.
Yeah, she's so fat, but in a mean, kind of a mean-spirited tone.
Yeah, but nothing else. I mean, it's
it doesn't.
He's like sort of dangling this out there, saying, "Here, I'm saying a mean thing," but are you? You didn't say.
Yeah, I don't know.
You didn't actually say the mean thing.
Yeah, I don't.
It's kind of lazy there, Billy. I mean, go into some details.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, what are you trying to say? I mean,
that is one of the things where anytime I have an opportunity to talk about Queen's fat-bottomed girl on the air, I usually say like, they were ahead of the curve, or curves, if you will.
I always come out of the song going, agree.
Yeah. But yeah, like that was weird to me. I was struggling to understand what the fuck the song Bushwhackatee is.
About a haircut. It's about,
but he also said something about Tina Turner haircut, and it was like,
is that your haircut or a Tina Turner wig?
Tina Turner wig. So it's like, okay, what are you making? Are you making fun of like afros? What are you making? Are you being mildly racist right now? What's happening? Who are you talking about?
Maybe you remember Tina Turner's hair in the 80s.
I don't remember it. No.
Don't you remember back then when you were alive?
I don't remember that.
You existed back in the 80s. No, she had a sort of this. It was almost wig-like in itself, what she did at that time.
Okay.
And it looked like a lot of the things that the hair bands were doing with their hair as well. I mean, it was...
very teased.
Very teased, very, very, strategically, shaded and colored. And, and sort of, very... very worked on.
All right. I understand that a little better now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have the context for that, so it was left to piece together.
We'll dig up an image search here afterwards. No.
Yeah. I think I guess I didn't listen too closely to what was going on with the lyrics of the song "Dead Men Most" Captain Crunch, but just the fact that Captain Crunch was mentioned did make me go a little bit like, well, this is kind of silly.
Yeah, yeah. I still don't.
I didn't laugh
exactly,
but it did make me go. It didn't make me, squint my eyes and wonder if I should be offended.
I don't know. What do I say?
Yeah.
Or the Ballad of Harry Chapin.
I can't remember the ballad. Or is it Ode to Harry?
Ode to Harry. That's
Ode to Harry is the name of the
Harry.
song. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't recall exactly what that one was, what was going on in that.
I mean, he actually describes sort of the scene of what happened when
Harry
Chapin died.
I don't know who Harry Chapin is.
He was a folk singer in the 60s and 70s.
Okay.
Blanking on what songs you would know of him. Do a search on that as well.
Okay.
Anyway, he was on the Long Island Expressway, and he was driving in his Volkswagen Rabbit.
Okay.
He got squished by a semi, and that's how he died.
That's unfortunate.
So that's another one where, I mean, okay, it's not too soon, but it's
kind of like a "Hey Bud, nice shot" situation.
Yeah, hey man, nice shot. Yeah.
Hey man, nice shot. Yeah. Which that's not even the only song about Bud Dwyer that I know. There's a Fit for an Autopsy song about Bud Dwyer.
Well, see, I've always heard that "Hey Man, nice shot" was about Kurt Cobain.
Really?
Yeah.
It's my understanding that it's about Bud Dwyer, but I guess depending upon what time, what year did that song came out?
It was in the late 90s?
I suppose, yeah. Obviously, if it came out after Kurt Cobain, it would be weird to say, oh, this song was about Kurt Cobain if it came out
82.
Yeah. But yeah, I always, at least like, when I read about the Fit for an Autopsy song, I was like, what's this song about? Oh, God.
Yeah.
And then saw like referenced in the song, hey man, nice shot. That's, that was my understanding of it. The song that I was by far most offended by
here we go.
is probably for obvious reasons if you listen to the song AIDS.
Oh, yeah. Holy
good
crap.
Fucking God, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could even write that at the time and be like, we're real funny satire here with these lyrics. Jesus Christ. I almost like, if that song had been any longer, I would have stopped listening.
Yeah,
I would have skipped it.
That is the good thing about a lot of these.
They're short.
They're very short.
They're very short.
Their brevity makes for...
I also, because I don't remember having this thought when we listened to S.O.D, but part of it, I think, is I had this thought before the song Let Me Out came on, but I kept on thinking, listening to Billy Milano saying, listening to Millie Bobby Brown say. Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
Listening to Billy Milano, I kept thinking he sounded like Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I kept thinking, and the song "Let Me Out" in particular, because there's from the first season, or maybe first or second season of Rick and Morty, when he turns himself into a kid, and then there's the dancers like "Let me out, this is not a dance." Like I just kept thinking he sounded like Justin Roiland, which made things worse because Justin Roiland turned out to be a fucking creep.
Yeah.
So it's like, but yeah, the whole time I was going like, this sounds like Rick. This sounds like, I keep on expecting the song to end and him to go, "I'm Pickle Rick." I turned myself into a pickle, Scott.
Well,
Scott, look.
Here's the thing. When I listen to this, I listened to it with my 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And I played the first song, and within 20 seconds of the beginning of the song, Max is like, he pauses the song. He says, "I'm going to go on a limb here. He's in no position to be using that word, is he?" No, he's... This is not... We are not listening to NWA right now.
Yeah. Oh, that was an N-bomb.
Yeah.
I heard that and went, surely not.
No, it was.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I fully like cognitive disonanced that away.
Like, no.
It was like there's no way he would have done that. That cannot be.
No. He did.
It was.
I forgot about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is also kind of funny because we listened to it and we just got done listening to the album straight out of Compton.
Weird synchronicity there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yikes. Yikes.
It was an interesting road trip home from Grand Forks.
Yeah.
The Williston.
The Williston of the East.
Yeah.
I've no one who's not from North Dakota or like Eastern Montana is going to understand what we mean by that. Nobody who's not from around here is going to get that.
Yeah, I here's what I think though. If you are from Eastern Montana, I think what a sign I would love to put up in the Williston Basin there somewhere is a big sign that says, "At least we're not Havre." Have you ever been to Havre?
I don't think I've been to Havre.
Oh my word! It's one of those things where you're traveling across Montana, and suddenly you're like, "Oh man, what the fuck is that?" And then over the hill, you're like, "Oh, it's Havre."
Okay.
It smells so amazingly terrible.
A couple of guys I went to college with were from Havre that had a dorm next to me and played D&D with one of them for a while. Yeah, I guess I never knew anything about Havre.
Yeah.
About whether or not what kind of place it was. Why is it stinky?
I guess I should look that up at some point.
Is there like a paper mill there or something?
I mean, it's not the same reason Dickinson is stinky for 2 months a year.
Yeah. Dickinson is stinky because of stockyard, right? Why is Dickinson stinky?
There's a crop that they harvest, or at least they bring in and process there. It might be beets from across the state for some reason.
I know there's like a beet processing place in Wahpeton, I think.
Yeah, but that's on the other side of the state.
Yeah. That's where all the beets are at. The beets are in the Red River Valley.
Right. That stinks during beet season.
Yeah, absolutely. Sugar beets specifically.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, let's stop narrow casting. Narrow casting to our North Dakotan audience.
So have you been to Granville lately?
I'm going down to Makoti for the threshing show.
Oh man, everybody should go down there.
Yeah. Yeah. What does this album slap?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Musically. as there's some fun punk riffs.
Yeah, they're fun to like short but sweet and
There's definitely a strong like grindcore and crossover thrash have there's a pretty strong middle section of that Venn diagram. There's definitely some pretty grindcore songs. Hi, I'm Grindcore.
Local butcher shop, Grindcore.
But yeah, there's definitely some very grindcore-esque songs on this album. Partially because a lot of these songs are under 2 minutes, under a minute even.
Yeah.
Score, I don't think there was much to find, so I just didn't bother. What's your favorite song? Come on, OJ, what's your favorite song? It better not be the one with the N-word in it.
Oh my God. I don't know, man.
I wrote down The Hate Tank because
The Love Boat, The Hate Tank.
It was a fun song, but I wrote it down mostly ironically because that meant the album was over. I knew once I got there that it was almost done. The Hate Tank is actually kind of fun.
It is a fun song. You're right. I'll give you that because the opening, that The Love Boat, The Hate Tank, that is Scott there.
Really?
Yeah, that's.
I didn't know.
The Love Boat is Billy, and then The Hate Tank.
That's Scotty in.
Yeah.
All right. What medal are you bestowing upon this like Mas Kanata to Chewbacca?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Kind of have to put a bronze
on this one. Yeah, I put bronze on this as well. It's just it's so deeply not for me, and it's one of those things where like I can't meet it where it's at.
Right.
Like there are some albums that are of their time that I listen to, and I'm willing to like meet it where it's at with as far as like lyrical content. It's like people weren't offended by this at this time or something like that. This I'm like, nah, there
was no time.
This is a bridge too far.
Yeah.
So yeah, this gets a bronze.
Yeah.
A bronze for me as well. Next week, I for once in my life know what we're going to talk about.
Sweet.
We're going to talk about an album called Rivers of Nile by a band called Rivers of Nile. Rivers of Nile.
It's been a long day.
It's actually the band name is actually different than the album name.
Right. Yeah, the album is Rivers of Nile.
The band is Rivers of Nile. Yeah, it's their self-titled album that just came out last week. And I've listened to a little bit. I was kind of concerned after some of the singles that I heard just sounded different.
Okay.
They had done away with some of their sort of spacier, more progressive, kind of more melodic qualities that they had on like Owls and The Work, which we listened to.
They have an album about owls?
Yeah, they sure do. But there's some spacier, more melodic stuff on those albums that I really loved, and it was very different. And it seemed like they had gone in a much more straightforward tech death direction. But I listened to the first couple of songs, and I was pleased to hear that that's not quite the case. There's actually a fair amount of like clean vocals.
Wow.
In what I listened to, so I'm interested to listen to the rest of it. They have a new vocalist.
Okay.
So yeah, Rivers of Nile, both the album and the band next week.
I have a hard time not overpronouncing that word, by the way.
Nihil. Or say it like Moog in Elden Ring. Nihil. 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 Oh no, why is he counting backwards in Latin? But yeah. Oh, and by the way, there's a song on this album called Rivers of Nile.
By the band Rivers of Nile
on the album.
Really?
It's my favorite thing. It's like Black Sabbath. The song Black Sabbath from the album Black Sabbath by the band Black Sabbath.
Yeah, the song Metal Church on the album Metal Church.
I love it.
By the band Metal Church.
I feel like if you're not a super serious band that's making like a concept album and you decided, okay, this is going to be our self-titled album, why not?
Please.
Why not have one of the songs?
Follow through.
Why not have one of the songs just have the name of the band? Come on.
If you're gonna tee it off, make sure that
get the follow through.
The wood goes over your left shoulder.
Yeah.
So
The most important part of the swing is the follow through. That's what I was always told when I was trying and failing to play golf.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's next week. Until then, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to our podcast feed on whatever podcast service you use to listen to us. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.